Hey! See this? See how kind of nasty it looks? kind of beat up looking. Well, this is it's only had pages torn out of it and flushed down the toilet, and it's been chucked in the mud a few times. It's a book. In fact, if I look at this book, you know, and I have to look really close because I'm blind as a bat without my bifocal contacts. It says, let's see, it was published by Moody Press, which publishes all kinds of crap. Sorry, Moody Press, I think you're pretty much religious only, or at least you were at the time. Maybe you don't even exist anymore. Let's see, where is it? Published in 1976, 1978 by, yes, I was right, the Moody Bible Institute of Chicago. I guess they need to have their own special publisher because no other publisher would publish this piece of crap. It has a horrible plot, it's boring, the writing technique is terrible, and it contradicts itself pretty much all the way through in various points, and it's fraught with errors. See, here's the pages that are all ripped up. I just kind of went through and just had a heyday. It was a lot of fun. Anyway, this, there's a whole bunch of fuss online about Bill Nye debating, sorry, it's kind of a joke, Ken Ham. And I have actually seen a video where somebody's like, Bill Nye, this is the title, Bill Nye, the not-so-science guy, gets hammered by creationists, which is a hilarious video. I highly recommend if you are in the mood for a bit of a chuckle. It's pretty funny. Anyway, I haven't watched the Ken Ham, Bill Nye, whatever, because I already know what it's going to be. I will watch it eventually, but it's like 2 hours, you know. But I make a prediction that I can accurately describe how this debate went. I'm curious to know if I'm wrong. If I am, please somebody tell me. Ken Ham gets on and talks about this. Yep. Talks about, you know, stuff written in here, you know, like it's actual history and like it actually happened. And he tells everybody that the planet is extremely young. It was like formed 10,000 years ago, and the planet, I'm sorry, everything has to do with this. This is what he talks about. Everything, the weather, happenings on the planet, everything is tied into this right here. This right here, it's all about this. This is it. The reason that the Creation Museum is correct is the reason that he thinks dinosaurs and man were walking around on the planet at the same time is... Yes, okay. Oh, and the reason he thinks that magical things happen and are, you know, actual happenings. This is, see, make close inspection. It's a book. Say, book. It's a book. Yes. And it's not really very, I mean, it's, imagine finding little bits of pottery in some pots, you know, little, or rather, I came out wrong, little bits of scrolls, like little bits, like if I were to take a page, rip it in half, see? Maybe this is like one of the pieces, or maybe this is one of the pieces, or maybe this is one of the pieces and it's got a few words on it. It's kind of like the stuff, you know, maybe there's a couple things out there that are more complete, but probably a lot of it's just little bits and pieces. And the rest of it, or most of it, I think probably they took little bits and pieces of this shit that they found in pots and wrote stuff. Most of this, 99% of this, I want to actually shouldn't say a percentage because I got yelled at for that. If you're going to say a percentage, it needs to be accurate. So we won't say a percentage. We'll just say, I am willing to bet that if you took this and you took out everything that was not added later and made up, you know, or is just tall tales that have been repeated and have been put in here, and now people, not very many, well, some people, not many, think it's actually actual stories that actually happened. It's just fiction. But anyway, probably left with something like, I'll give a little more credit than that. Maybe this thick, like this. Anyway, it's fiction. It's fiction. There's absolutely, I can't say no history that coincides with what's in this book, because I'm not a history major, but from what I have read, it does not support known history. It doesn't, anyway, another big word that I can't get my mind around, trying to figure out which word I want to say. It doesn't work with real history, with what we know of as real history, what archaeological records show, and everything, you know. It doesn't. It's just, it's the history according to the church, and it doesn't go with anything that we know of as actually happening. So, anyway, that's what Ken Ham was waving around and saying everything is based on this, and it's fiction. So it's like, how long was the debate? So, okay, back to the debate. A chunk of time with him talking about a bunch of crap, and it has to do with, and it's all supported by this. This is the reason he knows it's true, is because of this. This is the reason he knows it's absolutely true, is because of this. This is the only evidence right here. There's no scientific evidence supporting anything that hopefully we get the name right this time, Ken Ham says. There's no scientific evidence whatsoever. There's no archaeological evidence whatsoever, or historical, or paleontological. Sorry, that's not a word. Paleontology is the word. But anyway, there's nothing. Oh, and okay, and so he talks, and he invokes the Bible and a bunch of crap, mythical stories in the Bible like it's actually true, and that's why he thinks that dinosaurs and man were walking around together. That's Ken Ham's argument, all having to do with the fall and God, and of course we have no evidence to show the fall ever happened, or that God exists, or that any of this actually happened, but this is why he thinks that creationism is valid and should be in schools, and is a science, and should be treated like one, with the same kind of respect as all these other sciences that have worked their asses off to get the respect and acceptance that they have today. But anyway, so he talks and he does all that, and then Bill Nye talks, and he presents science. He presents, now again, I'm guessing, I haven't actually watched the debate, but I'm thinking he's producing things like, well, the distance it takes the light to travel from such and such star to the Earth. I saw some clip where he mentions that, or the rings of trees. Now, what is Ken Ham's response when Bill Nye talks about the rings of the trees? There's trees older than this guy thinks the planet is. Oh, well, maybe they took some trees and put them together. Yeah, there's like this little conspiracy of guys running around trying to, you know, come up with stuff like that. So they're making dinosaur bones, you know, they're actually making them, they're fabricated and putting them in the ground, you know, or sticking multiple trees together to make them look like they're really old, because it's all part of Satan's plan to unravel God. I can't believe that Ken Ham actually said that. Oh, they're putting the trees together. I saw, I think it was CNN. There was some kind of interview after the debate that had the two of them, and it had more to do with the climate change and it was a very short video. And that was one of the things that Bill Nye mentioned in that little thing, was that tree rings, and Ken Ham's response was, well, they could put trees together to do that. Anyway, so again, back to the debate. So Bill Nye comes up with all these things. You know, there's things like, let's see, the formation of caves and how long it takes stalactites to, you know, drip their little minerals down to form the stalagmites that come up and attach eventually, or how long it takes for the erosion of a shoreline or for something like the Grand Canyon to be created. All these things that I'm sure Bill Nye presented to show that the Earth is fucking old. You know, science, things that have taken, that men have worked very hard at to, you know, build upon a hypothesis to eventually have an accepted theory that is provable and testable. You know, all these things would be what Bill Nye would throw out as part of his arsenal. And after he is done with his exhausting, actually very patient through what I saw, the little clips I saw, he looks very patient and very tolerant of Ken Ham. But anyway, after all this careful presentation, then Ken Ham talks again, and boom! There it is again. Boom, 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 boom. This is all he's got right here. Well, you know, this is it. This is what it is, you know. I don't care the science. The science is all fucked up, and it's not true, and these super glued trees together, yeah, but this is real, and we have absolute evidence that it's real because it says so right in here. It says it's real, and it says so, and it says this stuff happened, and I believe it because it says so. Ken Ham. So he makes a museum. Yeah, he makes a museum based on what this thing says, and tells little kids that it's real, and little kids grow up thinking that people and dinosaurs walked on the planet at the same time. Thank you, Ken Ham, for teaching children something, warping their perceptions of the world. I'm sorry. And then there's creationists that actually think this man won this debate. Really? Anyway, so that's my perception of what this whole thing's about. And I'm sorry, but I'm sorry. It's just, I see a lot of videos about this debate. Wasn't gonna make a debate, but it's really annoying me when I bring up YouTube and I see all these videos about, you know, creationists destroy Bill Nye, and I'm like laughing. It's like, really? And what did the creationists, what was the argument that they presented that was so destructive? Oh, that's right. Ta-da! Da-da-da-da-da-da! This is it. This is it. Wow, I'm so impressed. You know, fuck science and all the stuff that I thought, that I read about, you know, the things. Oh, this is so true. It's so glaringly, obviously true because it says it's true. Oh, God. You know, there's absolutely no evidence for creationism. There's no evidence. Why does that not mean anything to anybody except for people who actually give a damn about science? Okay, then I've got this person that's been writing on my page called Cerebellum. and I don't know if it's something about loves, she loves science or I love science or something like that. That's anyway, and yet they believe in the Adam and Eve and the Eden story, and that God actually created the world in 7 days. And it's like, really? And where do you get this evidence? Oh, and the other thing this person said was that God exists beyond time or outside of time. Where do you get the evidence from to show this? They'd love to just throw this shit out there, and then there's no evidence, and yet they call one of the one that says Bill Nye the Not So Science Guy, hammered by creationists, that video, the guys actually say, oh, he's coming by faith. It's like, really? Bill Nye has evidence, and he presents his evidence, I'm sure, in this debate. He certainly presents things in other things that I've watched. There is evidence to present. That's the point. There's evidence for evolution. Tons of it. And yet these guys who criticize Bill Nye for going on faith are like, oh, yeah, but we believe it because the book says so. Yeah, oh, that makes a lot of sense to me. Sure, and they can talk. They can put Bill Nye down. Anyway, it's just, it's been a burr in my bonnet, is that the phrase? For like the last 2 days. And I haven't even watched the debate yet. This is just what I'm thinking. It's like, it's a joke. I'm sorry, I said this before the debate ever happened. It's a joke and insulting to Bill Nye to even do this debate. It's demeaning for him to even do this debate with this guy who is spewing bullshit and stupid from his mouth with every word. And yes, I'm talking about Ken Ham, who puts up a fucking museum and Creation Museum. Now, there's a contradiction in terms. Creation Museum, you know what a Creation Museum would really be like? What it would really be? You would go down a hall and there would be little samples of older Bibles. See, it would show, like, maybe you start out with a Bible published in 2013 and it would maybe go down to the first Bible ever written. That's it! Only they'd probably just show not the whole Bible, but the book of Genesis, because that's where the myth of creation is talked about. That would be it. So we would see older and older copies of the book of Genesis. And if you go back far enough, you'll get to the one that has Lilith and the creation of the first woman, who eventually turns into a demon because she says God's name. Oops! So anyway, I just felt like having a rant. I think it's hysterical that grown adults today actually believe this stuff and actually try to spar with science with a book. That's it. It's a book. No evidence for any of it. And yet they dare to say to atheists, well, you just go on faith. No. There's science for what? The things that atheists believe in? There's science. And the reason they believe in it is because there's actually science to show these things are pretty, maybe not the 100% accurate explanations, but as close to it as we've come yet, explanations. You know, and it's good enough for me, because that's, you know, it's as close as we can get. That's what I want. I want truth. I want to know why the earth spins, or why the sun, why the sky is blue. I want to know because I'm curious and I'm interested in science. I don't have any science ability. I'm not a scientist. I don't call myself cerebellum because I think I'm smart or walk around saying, oh yes, yeah. I'm not a scientist, but I do think that the people who are deserve a lot of respect for what they do. It's a lot of hard work. And I get real tired of creationists mocking it. And they mock it when they try to say that creation is science, or they try to have debates with people like Bill Nye, like they're even remotely on the same level, you know? So anyway, that's it. Me ranting. I feel like chucking the stupid book again. I really do. If you've been watching, thanks. Bye!